Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome to GMA24 Update News Channel. Hope you will enjoy our news video before we begins. Hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Here is the news title, The UK Towns. Most at risk if Rachel Reeves unleashes brutal new tax chaos exclusive. A new report from data firm Suffrago estimates which parts of the country will suffer the most. If the Chancellor brings in more tax changes, pensioners in seaside towns would be hit hardest if Rachel Reeves carries out a tax blitz, which Express economic expert Harvey Jones has warned she may well be weighing up. Since taking office in the summer, the new Labour Chancellor has sparked outrage with a range of controversial measures designed to boost the Treasury's coffers, from cutting the winter fuel allowance to increasing national insurance contributions for businesses. Pensions and inheritance are two areas where further tax changes have been tipped, and both are amongst the likely targets Jones believes the Chancellor will home in on in her spring statement. The financial guru said he had a sneaky feeling pension tax relief was on her list, even though no Chancellor has dared yet go after it. The Treasury spends a staggering $50 billion a year on it, and it disproportionately benefits higher earners, who can claim 40% or 45% relief, while basic rate taxpayers get just 20%, Jones pointed out. The Express writer believes Labour's war on wealth could continue in March with changes to the cash gifts elderly relatives can pass to relatives before they die, and alterations to how properties are included in inheritance tax. By combining information on the number of pensioners and the level of home ownership, data firm Suffrago has generated a list of the areas in Britain that will be hardest hit if Reeves does act as Jones predicts. The estimates show rural seaside areas, already reeling from previous tax measures, will be disproportionately affected. Top of the pile is North Norfolk, which perhaps shouldn't be a huge surprise, given a third of the residents in the coastal region, which includes Cromer and Wells. Next, the sea are above 65, the largest proportion anywhere in the country. It would nevertheless be a further blow to a region already leading the resistance against inheritance tax changes on farms that Reeves laid out in the autumn. The bigger local authority that covers the district, Norfolk County Council, has officially called for the Chancellor to perform a U-turn on her controversial inheritance tax policies, describing them as an assault on the countryside. Conservative Brian Long's December motion made a plea to Westminster on behalf of Norfolk's family farms and rural businesses to keep the cost of food down, keep rural jobs, and protect the environment by formally rejecting the government's proposed family farm tax. Another seaside area, Rother in Sussex, was second on the list of districts that will be hit hardest. Situated in the rolling hills around Bexhill and Rye, it's best known for having the site of the 1066 Battle of Hastings within its borders. Again, it is a location caught up in the fight against the Chancellor's previous inheritance tax measures. Following the large-scale demonstration by farmers in London in November against the proposed family farm tax, Kieran Mullen, MP for the area, met farmers who'd travelled up to protest. Labour's ideological decision to target family farmers, despite promising not to do so, has the potential to wreck farmers' lives and the whole industry, he told the East Sussex News. Not only have they underestimated and undervalued the farms affected by this harsh new tax, but the knock-on effects for the whole country could be disastrous. Suffrago ranked the equally rural coastal area of East Devon, which is home to the likes of Exmouth, Seaton, and Sidmouth, third where, last month, nearly 60 people from the area met at a pub in Upottery to discuss the potential impact of inheritance tax rises. They were joined at the meeting by local paper the Exmouth Journal, whose report quoted former MP Neil Parish's speech to the crowd. This government is obsessed with punishing those involved in agriculture, farming, and the land, the former representative of Tiverton and Honiton told the farmers. They do not understand the countryside. It is not full of landed gentry as they would have everybody believe. The UK towns, most at risk if Rachel Reeves unleashes brutal new tax chaos introduction. Rachel Reeves's potential tax policies have raised alarms across the UK, with pensioners and homeowners in rural seaside towns expected to be the hardest hit. A new report from data firm Suffrago has identified the areas most vulnerable to these changes. As Labour's war on wealth continues, The financial implications for retirees and homeowners are becoming increasingly concerning. The expected tax changes. Since taking office in the summer, Rachel Reeves has introduced a range of controversial measures aimed at boosting the Treasury's coffers. Among them are cuts to the winter fuel allowance and increased national insurance contributions for businesses. Speculation now surrounds pensions and inheritance tax, two areas where further changes are anticipated. Economic expert Harvey Jones predicts that pension tax relief could be targeted. The Treasury spends an estimated $50 billion annually on pension tax relief, with higher earners disproportionately benefiting from the system. If altered, this could significantly impact pensioners relying on these benefits for financial security. Additionally, inheritance tax changes are expected, including adjustments to cash gifts elderly relatives can pass on, and revisions to property valuations. These policies could have far-reaching consequences, particularly in areas with high home ownership rates and large elderly populations. The hardest-hit areas by analyzing pensioner populations and home ownership levels, Suffrago has pinpointed the regions most vulnerable to potential tax hikes. Seaside towns, already struggling with previous economic policies, appear to be the most at risk. North Norfolk tops the list, with a third of its residents over the age of 65. This region, including Cromer and Wells next the sea, has been at the forefront of opposition to Reeves's inheritance tax changes. Norfolk County Council has formally requested a reversal of these policies, calling them an assault on the countryside. Conservative councillor Brian Long led the charge, arguing that these tax hikes threaten Norfolk's family farms, rural businesses, and food supply chains. His December motion urged Westminster to reconsider its stance to protect local economies. Sussex, covering Bexhill and Rye, ranks second among the most affected districts. Known for its historical significance, including the site of the 1066 Battle of Hastings, this rural community is deeply concerned about Reeves's tax policies. Following large-scale protests in London against the so-called family farm tax, local MP Kieran Mullen voiced his opposition. He criticized the government for underestimating the effects on farmers and warned of nationwide repercussions. Labour's ideological decision to target family farmers has the potential to wreck lives and the entire industry, he told the East. Sussex News, 3. East Devon, home to Exmouth, Seaton, and Sidmouth, is another area bracing for economic impact. Last month, nearly 60 locals convened at a pub in New Pottery to discuss the implications of inheritance tax hikes. Former MP Neil Parish addressed the crowd, lambasting the government's approach. They do not understand the countryside. It is not full of landed gentry as they would have everybody believe, he stated. South Lakeland, Cumbria, South Lakeland, encompassing the Lake District and market towns like Kendal, is another region vulnerable to tax increases. With a high proportion of pensioners and homeowners, concerns over changes to pension tax relief and inheritance laws are mounting. Many residents fear that Labour's policies could accelerate economic decline in an area already grappling with affordability issues. Isle of Wight. The Isle of Wight, with its aging population and strong home ownership rates, is particularly exposed to Reeves's proposed tax shifts. The combination of increasing tax burdens and the rising cost of living could significantly impact retirees, prompting concerns over financial stability and local economic sustainability. Wider implications. While these tax changes primarily affect pensioners and homeowners, the ripple effects could be felt across the broader economy. Increased financial pressures on retirees may lead to reduced spending, affecting local businesses and services in these already struggling communities. Additionally, farmers and rural business owners warn that higher inheritance taxes could lead to land sales and corporate buyouts, shifting ownership away from family-run operations and into the hands of larger entities. This could alter the landscape of British agriculture, with potential consequences for food production and rural employment. And public response opposition to these tax policies is mounting, with local councils, MPs, and advocacy groups calling for reconsideration. The Conservative-led Norfolk County Council's official plea to Westminster exemplifies the growing discontent. Similarly, the farming community's protests against the family farm tax indicate widespread resistance to Labor's tax strategy. With demonstrations already underway, further unrest is expected if the spring statement includes additional measures targeting pensions and inheritance. Conclusion: the looming tax changes under Rachel Reeves's leadership pose a significant threat to pensioners and homeowners, particularly in rural seaside towns. North Norfolk, Rother, East Devon, South Lakeland, and the Isle of Wight stand to suffer the most. If Reeves proceeds with the predicted policies, the economic consequences could be severe, sparking further political backlash and public outcry. As the spring statement approaches, all eyes will be on the Chancellor to see whether she follows through with these controversial measures or bows to mounting pressure to reconsider. So what do you guys think about this update? Let me know in the comment below. If you like my video, please press like button and subscribe for more. Hope I'll see you in next video.